Look at us, back up to 3. Another week, another normal service for us. Valiant displays. Morg, is your mum okay?
I don't know.
Is your mother well? Is your mother well?
Ah!
Play the intro, shit joke.
Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the Football Boo Podcast, episode 22 of season 4. My name is Fennan, and as you can see, I'm joined by not one, but two wonderful gentlemen. On one side, we got the main man himself, Mayhem. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good.
All good?
Buckle in. It's gonna.
Motherwell?
Yeah, she's good, mate. Yeah, she's good. Top banter. I get the feeling off the back of the displays itself we could put in. My analysis will be very short and sweet this week, and we're all here for a bit of buzzer ball banter, aren't we?
Of course we are.
Guys are fucking rocket. So
Bazo is at the wheel, ladies and gents. But welcoming back this second individual, Gondor. Long time no see. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah. I can sense the enthusiasm that you have to be back. Christ almighty.
Buzzing.
Oh, my God. What a weekend. I can't say too much because I know, Gondor, you have still not seen Elimination Chamber yet. Mayhem, if you have seen what's happened on WWE. I know this isn't a WWE podcast, but fucking shit hit the fan Saturday night, Sunday morning. We'll get on to that later on. Let's focus on the main thing, and that is football. Business as usual for Celtic. Involved 6-goal thriller and a 7-goal thriller.
and yeah, mate, to be honest, I don't know if this comes across controversial or if anyone's listening to it that's a Celtic fan, you back me up or tell me that I have no ball knowledge, which you may be correct about. But I thought we were shite.
I was about, you know what? Because I watched the highlights earlier, right? And I didn't really feel the scoreline reflected the performances either. There were definitely quite a few fragments in the performances.
Yeah, see against Aberdeen, I was watching it and obviously had my wife to be sitting next to me. And
Spitting bars, mate. Christ.
she she obviously looked up at the score and she said, "You're winning 3-0. Like, what's wrong with you?" And it was the Aberdeen game was so weird. Like, Casper gives the ball away, and Kevin misses an open goal. Top Fenian, we love you, Kevin. He didn't want to score against the good guys. We know the crack. But Aberdeen were getting in. They were getting, they had a chance just before that where if it was a better ball, then the guys one-on-one, but Casper comes out and spreads himself. And then in the blink of an eye, we kind of put together a decent-ish move, and it kind of flicks up off the defender after he makes a challenge, and Daisy Maeda, player of the year in Scotland.
Honestly, that man's season is night and day compared to last.
Seal it in there. And he bags, and I'm kind of thinking, how we one up? I mean, even Jota's goal, like Jota, one of the most technically gifted players that I've seen at Celtic, and even he scuffs it in, for the second. It kind of gets his shin, and it goes in, and Callum adds a third before half time on his right foot as well. Like, fucking hell.
It exists.
I think on a different day as well, I could see why maybe a few Aberdeen fans think it's a foul. I thought it'd be pulled back. It isn't. And on another day.
I mean, looking back at that, it was very identical to the Upamecano challenge on Arnie Engels in the Champions League. It was very much ball first, the follow through isn't
Jimmy,
pretty.
Are you talking about Alistair Johnson at St Mirren rather than?
No, that's the one. Yeah. I went on to that game yet, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So the inconsistencies that come with
Scottish officiating. Just officiating in general.
And then we grab a couple of goals in the second half against Aberdeen, and they score a goal which apparently stops some absolutely redundant fucking record. I'm sure Casper was concerned about it. I think it was like it would have been a record 10 games at home without conceding.
Oh.
But we were poor, mate. We really poor. And I've had a lot of time for Adam Eder, but yeah, I don't think he's really endeared himself over the last couple of games to be playing up top instead of Maeda. Especially if we can put out. I mean, I think Nicholas Kuhn's gone massively off the boil as well, which is a shame to see. But I think
Well, yeah. I mean, if there's one man who's actually stepped up to the plate in recent weeks, it feels like Yang has really
yeah,
come on a bit.
you got to have the old Yang appreciation message because he really has. Obviously, gets a goal against Aberdeen, and every time he scores again, my wife to be tells me, "Don't you say he's shit?" And I say he is shit. Um, and then he comes on and bags a double
They don't
against St Mirren.
understand, mate. They don't understand.
Comes on and bags the double against St Mirren as well. And yeah, getting onto that game, I thought that was very much the same. We were poor. The first time we really put something together, Jeffrey Schlupp smashes one in, his first goal for Celtic, and then just pissed. I mean, St Mirren could have had easily 3 goals, and they missed some real big chances. Casper pulling off some really good saves, and St Mirren missing some fucking gilt edged chances. Declan John whips in a free kick to be unfuck.
God, yeah. Ex Bluebird as well.
Yeah, and somehow through that half again, we managed to be leading. Arnie Engels slots away a penalty. I mean, it's a stonewall penalty. There's no debate in that one.
No.
And then we're in at 2-1. You think, right, Brendan, get him in. Let's make sure we go 16 points clear, which top banner, we're playing shit, 16 points clear. And here we come out within 2 minutes, we're level again. The guy absolutely fucking screws the ball into the ground. It kind of bounces up and loops in. Weird goal.
Absolute freak goal that was.
And yeah, and then you kind of think, fucking hell, again, we're not playing great. And yeah, then Yang comes on and he changed. I think, to be honest, I think the subs changed the game. I thought Luke McCowan come on. I thought he had a brilliant impact. Jota was a bit quiet, and obviously it was the Yang show. He's at the back post to with a great header to get us 3-2 up. And yeah, coming on to the incident that you were talking about before with Alistair Johnson, and gets a penalty. I'm absolutely amazed they don't go to VAR because I think Arnie Engels is a penalty in the Champions League. And I think this one, like you said, I think they're very similar, and it should have been reviewed, and it should have 100% been reviewed, and I think they should have been awarded a penalty. So again, we would have been given them a way back into the game.
Because it
So
was it's minimal contact with the ball, but
Yeah.
there's so much more contact on the player.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, at this point, I think VAR is dumb. I think we're all sick and tired of it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think
sick of fucking talking about it every bloody week. And
yeah, I don't think it gets it right enough for it to be this, overarching thing that they talk about. We need it to make sure we get the right decisions. I just think there's too many mistakes with it, especially in Scotland. We don't have all the camera angles. We've got people at Alamure fucking guessing when balls are out of play and calling it a factual decision. Factually, you're a prick, mate. Don't worry about that. And this is what we end up talking about, referees again and again. And I think it's key to call it out especially when we're fortunate from it as well, so it doesn't look like a biased view. So I'm not only looking like a bit of a shy bag when we lose. Like back in recent weeks when we've been talking about officials, and obviously at Easter Road when the ball was clearly in. Or not, you couldn't definitively prove it was that. It's maybe the better way to go about it. And off the back of that, I guess St Mirren maybe got a wee bit deflated after not getting that decision, and we kick on. Days of Maeda, what I take a fantastic goal. Like it's just a goal that he would. The pundit said it brilliantly, which is unusual for Chris Boyd. Not much that comes out of that Lego fucking eating twat's mouth has any relevance, but he got this right. But Days of Maeda, it just doesn't score that goal last season.
No.
Takes a lovely touch, looks up, see where the keeper is, slots it in, that kills the game, and then Yang gets another, and yeah,
it's just the lead up to the goal as well. The touch he takes, it was so like Henrik Larsson-esque. I know it's a bit of a hot take to put the two names in comparison, but it was very very resemblant finish, but unbelievable goal by Maeda. Like the confidence is oozing from that man at the moment.
Yeah, and he's on like 26 goals for the season now.
26 goals.
you think of some of the goals that he scored as well. I mean, he got 3 in the Champions League. Obviously, got the one against Bayern at home. Massively involved in Nicholas Kuhn's goal out in Germany. So he's just gone up a level, massively, and enjoying watching him play, which hasn't always been the case for Days Maeda. He can frustrate at times, but he's in the absolute form of his life. And I think 5-2 is really harsh. I thought St Mirren played really, really well, and Stephen
It's
Robinson.
a top pitch to play on, I noticed as well, Paisley.
Yeah, look, that it is what it is. We know that when we go to places that we're maybe not going to have the surface that we normally have at home. I think our pitch is cutting up a bit as well, to be honest. So, we've got to find ways to win, and we've done that. And at this point now, it's just ticking off the games. We've got Hibs next, obviously in the cup. Need to navigate that at home. Then we obviously it's the Derby game at home, and if we get through those two with wins, the league is all but wrapped up, and I think it can be officially wrapped up within the next couple of weeks if we win that Derby game.
I was thinking.
We've got to just keep ticking on and doing what we're doing and churning out these results. Hopefully, the level of performance goes up against Hibs because look, they're flying at the moment. Obviously, a massive win in the Edinburgh Derby.
I was meaning to bring them up as well. I'm pretty sure, Gondor, the last time you were on this platform,
They were fighting relegation.
they were rock bottom.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain they were rock
No,
bottom.
I think
Here we
that's
are
just
now.
moved out of rock bottom. I've got the Celtic stuff up that I normally do, and I just looked at it. Last time I was here, I think it was Aberdeen were top, and Celtic were second, or someone
Probably
was top.
if Aberdeen were top at the time, I'm pretty sure Celtic would have had a game or two in hand.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, it was like they were still fighting for it, and Hibs were nowhere to be seen. And now I'm looking at it, and I'm like, it's a completely different table to when I last saw it.
Yeah. To get bragging rights in the Edinburgh Derby as well, like a monumental result and a great second goal as well for them.
Yeah, massive for David Gray, and Hibs are in a real good spot at the moment. And obviously, went to Easter Road last weekend, and we fell victim to that good form. And happy that the good guys of Edinburgh managed to get the win in that derby. But the league is petering out. Really, I think realistically, the main focus is still, picking up making sure we get those results. But with a massive game against Hibs, in the cup to try and keep the domestic treble alive on the weekend. So that's where everything will.
Well, at least you come away with some silverware this season anyway, unlike someone else.
Bazable.
Are we here for it? Are we here for it, lads?
Mate, give him a 5-year contract. See the absolute staunchness of it, and that club. We speak a lot about United, right? Or anyway, we used to, and we talk about their acceptance. And I speak to a lot of United fans, and they're like, "Oh, if we do just their level of acceptance of mediocrity is fucking horrendous." Because there's all these new generations that have just been born into fucking trophy poverty at United. They think it's acceptable. If we finish fourth, it's a good season. No, it's not. Nowhere near. That same shit is happening across the city in Govan, right? These kids have been born into trophy poverty, mate. Fucking their only league title, and they had to watch it on a TV screen, couldn't get in the ground because fucking COVID ball was kicking off. So they've never been in the ground to see their team lift the league title. Right? And what they've now gone with is the staunch approach where if we try and put in a reputable manager, that they went with Philip Clement, he gets laughed out the door, right? So they've just gone pure staunch to the end of the season. Fucking big Barry Ferguson, Alan McGregor, Billy Dodds, Neil McCann, get the fucking boys in, right? But just Protestants, right? They'll do a job. They were 2 down at Killie until Derek McInnes realised that he'd done enough for his job interview in the summer, and he fucking rolled over and got his belly tickled by his former teammate. Right. Motherwell come to town, and they're 2 down again. Who would have thunk it? Someone that couldn't perform at Clyde is given the second biggest job in Scotland. I mean, he's given the second biggest job in Scotland. But what the fuck did they think was going to happen? You're talking about one of the biggest jobs in the UK. and they've just it is the equivalent. I don't even know what is the equivalent of. Like it's the equivalent, I guess, maybe of United sacking Almiron and bringing back the class of '92 and saying, "Boys, go manage till the end of the season."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like bringing in Roy Keane because we all laugh and joke, and people say, "Oh, Roy Keane would lift the standards," but it's all fucking pish. Like the game has moved away from those type of managers, the Neil Lennons going, just go out and enjoy it, boys, because you had the best team. It's far superior than that. Like talking about putting them in suits and brogues and standards, I mean, you actually need to have a bit of tactical knowledge because you're being outschooled by fucking Motherwell. It it defies belief that they've done it, and it is funny. The banter is in full flow. So yeah, long may it continue.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice as well because the derbies are always important, and we'll want to win them. Of course, we will, and I'll still be nervous on the day, but it's nowhere near like see like 2 weeks before our derby, right? You're already getting that build up. Normally, we need to win this to be informed going into that. It's what it is.
Well, I mean, yeah.
It's back to like when they were wearing fucking bread wrappers on their head for Warburton. You know what I mean? And you're like, we want to beat them, and they're our polar opposite, and we despise everything about the football club. But plucky the underdogs they are these days. I mean, I think the derby's getting real close to being Liverpool Everton, right? It'll never quite be that fragile where sometimes they sit together and all this kind of carry on, but
USA.
like it, whether they get brought over by whoever the fuck, San Francisco, whatever, or whatever fucking
69ers, yeah. Couldn't
whatever,
forget that name.
whatever fucking people are debating taking over, whether they do or they don't, the mess that football club is in, like the amount of money that would need pumped into it for it to just run and break even. That's before you're talking about having to go out and put money into buy players and stuff like that.
They've inherited a lot of deadwood as well from previous managers, and it's been it feels like it's been quite a high turnover at Rangers as well. And so, yeah, it's one of those jobs where it's got to be stripped to the ground and completely.
But there's no way they have the money to strip it to the ground, mate.
No, they don't. This is the thing.
I mean, what are they rebuilding it with? You know what I mean?
Possible.
If it was any other club, I wouldn't laugh. I would have sympathy, but I don't. And fuck yous. Like, you've cheated your way in the past, and this is the ramifications for it. Like, your grandkids will be Celtic fans because I doubt you'll exist in 20 years. You'll run that poorly. Like, you can't die twice and come back. Like, you can't. You've already done it once. And it's run that poorly. Like, even when they have their best seasons and, they're doing well in Europe, they're still turning over losses. Massive losses as well. I think it was like £11 million when their books come out last. So, look, if there's any Celtic fans out there, enjoy taking in, all the lovely Rangers podcasts. They're absolutely glorious when they lose.
Do you actually tune into any of them at all? Like, I imagine like shorts of them or something.
Yeah, I get like wee clips of it. There's Fog Football on YouTube, where there's a Hearts fan that's a closet Rangers fan, and then his pal is a Rangers fan. Their pain is absolutely glorious, man. It's beautiful. I don't tune in if Rangers win, but if they've had a wee loss, you've got to turn it on. And all the obviously on Twitter and X or whatever you want to call it, you obviously see the wee clips, and it skips to just a resounding noise of boo, and fucking Barry Ferguson.
Well, technically, last week we did a Rangers episode. It was about the big Belgian himself, the waffle going out the door. We can be a little bit impartial, but it's funny when they're short.
all the Belgian waffle's gone, and it's just been replaced by an absolute Glaswegian fud. And yeah, fuck knows who they're going to bring in. I have absolutely no idea. I generally think it'll be a domestic manager, Derek McInnes or someone like that they'll end up going to get. But yeah, in terms of all things Celtic, like I said, big game on the weekend, chance to avenge the loss and put us in the semi-finals and really ramp up the domestic treble. You know that when you get to Hampden, that's it. It's turn it on. You got to go hard at it. And,
yeah. It's gonna be hard to pick the side as well. Like as you said, like you don't feel the performances are really up to par. Would there be any specific changes you'd make to that game on Saturday?
I would like to see Luke play a little bit more. I think whenever he comes
Yeah.
off the bench, he has a big impact. And I know that you can maybe look at Easter Road and he didn't have the best first half. I think Jota has to start. I think Maeda has to start through the middle. And I would still play Kuhn from the start. But I guess I'm not sure on Trusty's been wobbly a little bit. Scales was wobbly as well when he come on. So
should have done better with that goal against Aberdeen as well. I thought he got wrong-footed way too easily.
yeah, so it's a tough one there, but
needs a trim as well, Liam Scales.
So yeah, all things considered, my performances haven't quite been at their sparkling best. It's difficult to come on and complain when we've scored 10 goals over 2 games, but such is the standard that Brendan has set in the first part of the season. So hopefully we get back to a little bit of form against Hibs and kick on, put ourselves in a semi-final. And really, at this point in time, it would ticking off the games to win the league and then building towards the summer.
Yeah. Gondor, you've just sent through some information. Would it be okay if you share it with us?
Sure. You started talking about Rangers' finances, so I thought I'd do a little delve. And this is from Ibrox Noise. So
There's
it says
no fucking noise coming out of that fucking stadium at the moment.
It says, not only are we running on an annual loss at the moment of around £15 million, not only are our losses in general around £17 million, but we need to borrow a further £9 million to simply stay afloat. Meanwhile, we are in debt by around £20 million to our own directors. Overall, in a very crude sense, you could argue Rangers are around £45 million in debt.
It's a club that is being run to try and sustain winning and ultimately failing on that. We've all been there. Like obviously at the end of this we'll get onto Football Manager, but we've all been there, right? Their club is being run like a fucking video game, right? I will stick that on the never ever and we'll worry about that shit in 5 years.
They're going to have to fund for a second funeral soon by the sounds of it.
But you know what I mean? You go, we'll stick that on the never ever, we'll worry about it in 5 years. 5 years comes around and you go, oh fuck, this is a problem.
Do we have to bring up the face painting company again?
Like, it's mad. They have no sellable assets, right? They have none. There's no one there. But they don't sell when maybe they're at, all right, if we sell now, we'll get maybe a decent-ish price and then we can reinvest that. They hold on to them. Right, you look at Morelos and he's leaving on free. Goldson leaves on a free. Tavernier way past it. Ryan Kent leaves on a free. Butland's going to go for cheap because he's had a dog shit season. Cyril Dessers is absolutely dog shit. Like the list goes on and on. Ryan Jack, who they were fucking waxing lyrical about, leaves on a free. Fucking Connor Barron, who was the best thing since sliced bread at the start of the season, MIA. Now they're back loving Hadji again.
Oh yeah,
again.
He fucking resurrected himself.
Cherney, who's their out and out best player, he leaves, and there's no way he's coming back. He's only on loan.
Maybe Igamane.
Yeah, maybe, but again, he's gone a little bit. He's not doing the numbers that he was. It was Cyril Dessers that dug him out of the hole against Kilmarnock. Dessers that scored against Motherwell to half the scoreline. and this is the guy that no one can stand as a 9 for Rangers, and they've been absolutely slandering him for a season now. So, yeah, the club is being run as if a very inexperienced person playing a video game is at the helm, and that's the level. And they're trying to then compete with the sustainability model that we have. That's obviously had Champions League football back in, Matt O'Reilly going for big money, Jota going for big money, assets in there like Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers is linked to Kyogo, gets sold for 10 million. Nicholas Kuhn is linked. Rio Hatate will probably leave in the summer. Kieran Tierney went for big money now, obviously now coming back. That's what they're trying to compete with. And because they're trying to compete with that, they're having to go and spend money that don't have, borrow it from people that obviously don't like money and they're never going to get it back. And they're at this position now that no matter what they do, whether they go on deep European runs or whatever, they don't bridge that gap to actually make a profit. They're releasing again shares to try and drum up money. It's the same watered down pish all the time. And
It is.
do you know what? I fucking love it.
Not like we're complaining, like, yeah, exactly.
But let's stop laughing at them because we spoke about them too much. So transitioning across,
Let's do it, man.
We're off the back of a week where Cardiff City now sit 6 points clear of Plymouth, who have played the same amount of games, 5 points clear officially of the drop zone. Luton playing a game more. I didn't see the Friday night game, but I did look at halftime. It was 0-0. Obviously, you're going to lose that, but I imagine a valiant performance there. I imagine this is a far cry from the last time that we were talking and things felt very, very bleak. I imagine it's just a little bit beige now.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I said last week, like the whole game was a huge game for us in terms of steering clear from the danger zone. And I'll tell you what, the boys came out and gave a very resistant performance. Robbo, again, on the score sheet, great finish. And then, yeah, it was just complete fight, grit, and discipline that just got us through the rest of that game. Brilliant result. And that carried over into Friday night. And Friday night, what a lot of fun it was. Even though we lost. Yeah, again, even Roy Keane as well was full of praise for us as well, which is quite nice. It feels quite heartwarming to hear that from a pundit like Roy Keane. And it was a very valiant performance, especially where there was a lot of rotation in there. There were some players who came in who made their first senior appearance, like Dylan Lawler, to mention specifically, came into a huge game against a Champions League side, just to note. I also noted to Maria as well when we were watching the game, there's 2 goalkeepers in this game. One's a World Cup winner, and the other one's Ethan Horvath. So that's the level we were dealing with, because she wasn't too sure. She was like, how good are Aston Villa? I'm like, well, they're a Champions League side, and they're doing quite well in the Premier League right now.
Emi Martinez was voted the best keeper in the world again as well, so it's not just a World Cup winner.
Well, the Golden Glove winner as well.
He's voted as the best keeper in the world at the moment. So yeah, obviously huge game.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, like you said, Friday night was a load of fun, but yeah, the bread and butter, the big story here is the 3 points in the Championship.
It was, yeah. No, that I think that was our prime focus, was to put out our best players and put out a solid performance to really have ourselves just clear ourselves away from this drop as far as possible. It's also been helpful that some other results have gone our way. Luton beating Pompey maybe kind of helps, because Luton were rock bottom, and so it draws us closer to Portsmouth, but then draws Luton closer to us. But yeah, 6 points clear at the moment. Can't complain. Huge game tomorrow night, home to Burnley. I'd happily take a point right now, if I'm completely honest. But I'm just hoping we can really carry over that resilience and that valiancy that we showed in the last 2 fixtures. I mean, like, to take Villa to half time at 0-0, and don't get me wrong, it was a weathered storm, fair to say. But then, yeah, Marco Asensio finds 2 pockets of space and just finishes really well, and they're 2 really good goals. If anything, I was a little bit conflicted after the first goal. I really thought I thought Omariza would have just encouraged us to be a bit more expressive, press a bit more, try and get something, as it was quite late on. But then at the same time, I still imagine, even though we had taken 3 points at Hull, I still imagine that he was still under some amount of pressure, and hypothetically, if he did encourage us to press forward and we go and ship another 4 goals, then who knows, it might not have been good for Omariza. But look, nevertheless, it was a result to be proud of. Fantastic atmosphere. We took 6,000 down to Villa Park. Place was it was quite a spectacle, I must say. In terms of performances, I thought Ruben Colwill, who was actually deployed in central midfield alongside Ramsey, played really well, and drew going through social media and some Villa fans, Newcastle, Premier League fans saying who is this Ruben Colwill? He's a bit of a player. I'm watch him every week, and then you'll change your mind. But it was a strong performance, and I really didn't think that he would have. I don't think he would have had the work rate to play in central midfield, because it's a lot of breaking up play and then getting forward. And usually with Ruben, you like him to be as that that number 10 in behind Robbo, and being drifted out wide to support the likes of Willock, Ashford, whoever. But no, I thought he was outstanding. Absolutely, I thought they were all outstanding.
Cole always steps up more in these games against bigger teams.
He does. I think mainly probably because it came down to that there wasn't really any expectations going into that game. It was really just to, just play and see and hope for the best. And, I think that pressure was lifted off of him, and it just allowed him to be a bit more expressive in the way he plays, because he's so good on the ball when he wants to, turning in, dropping into pockets, taking on players. For his size to to have that ability is very impressive. Same with Yusuf Salak as well. I didn't realise how quick that guy was. He's 6'5" and almost was outpacing fucking Ezri Konsa. It was mental. But yeah, no, you couldn't fault anyone in that game. Ethan Horvath, unbelievable, and he's definitely going to be one to have eyes on, as Jack Annick's been ruled out for the season. Tore his hamstring, unfortunately, in that game. Who was it, against Plymouth? So he's out for the season. So Ethan Horvath had to really make a big step up, and he rightfully did. And so hats off to him. Louis Giles at left wing back thought he had a bit of a difficult night. I mean, it's never easy when you go up against Leon Bailey, so he definitely had a challenge and was thrown in the deep end for sure. But like I said, each to their own. I thought the boys were fantastic. There was big calls for a penalty on Perry and G as well in the first half. I think the contact's a little bit too minimal, trying to be not as biased as possible. Of course, at first sight, you're screaming at your computer or your monitor, crying for a penalty, and Maria's turned around and goes, I love Perry and G, that's not a penalty. I'm like, you sound like a Villa fan. But you just, but then again, it's one of those decisions where you just feel like, you know what, if it was the other end, would it get given? Aston Villa, Premier League team over little old Cardiff, I don't know. But no, for me, I don't think it was a penalty. I'm pretty sure a lot of Cardiff Twitter will disagree with me. I think it was a resounding latter of no, it is a penalty, but I feel the contact's too minimal there. If anything, I think he should stay on his feet and try and get a shot off. I think we had a better chance with that, but he goes down under, what was, minimal contact, and wasn't given. Big game tomorrow night. Home to Burnley, then away to Sunderland. So 2 huge games where we've just got to really take as many points as we can. Expectations are rightfully quite low going into those games, as we see Burnley and Sunderland both flying high at the moment. And so, we've just got to hope for the best and put in some strong performances, and really hope that that confidence and that praise we received on Friday night really does carry over.
100%.
So yeah, no, it's I think the other good thing is as well we're getting some players back from injury, like Darland's back in training. Robertson came off the bench, so to have these key players back in the side will be vital for us. And so yeah, now all we can do is hope and really just get us out of this dogfight. And so funny enough, we had another. It's not quite an open letter, but it was an update from the board regarding our finances.
It's a fucking pen pals now, aren't you, with the board?
I'm telling you, mate. Well, at least they're actually communicating with us. So it came a little bit left wing, and so wasn't expecting it. But they gave us like an annual review of our finances, and we did make a loss of 11.7 million, but there has been some transfer, a lot of transfer activity. We've of course invested into a new training ground and infrastructure, and so even though we're operating at a loss, we're still I think we brought out a loan as well, and so it takes us to a complete financial loss of 40 million, which Vincent Tan is still striving to convert that into I think he's trying to convert it into equity, or just to make the club completely loan free. So
I don't think that part of the club is what you have at football clubs is you have good. Very rarely do the two kind of come together. You see it, at Brighton, a place like that, whatever, blah blah blah. Brighton are unwell, boring, we know. But normally you have one or the other. You have good business people that run the club, from a good business standpoint, or you have good footballing people,
yeah,
that run it. So I think Cardiff, there's a lot that's gone on, a lot of investment. I don't really think that's the worry. I think, the people that are in are decent-ish business people, and they're going to make sure that those finances are dealt with from a business aspect really well. But the worry is when you see those figures, how much, if that's the project and the aim, how much then gets reinvested, because you're in a relegation battle. And
this is it. Yeah, I think it's the football matters that mean the most right now, and I can't even bear to imagine what losses we'll suffer if we were to irrationally get relegated. So I don't know, but yeah, no. My focus as a fan is always on the football. Seeing the finances. Yeah, it's interesting, but it's not the pivotal point with us right now. It's our status in the Championship that is the priority, and that's what we got to focus on.
So I have a question for you about your status in the Championship. Obviously, right now you're still looking down. You're looking, how much more do we need? At what point do you start looking up and realise you're only 4 points behind the other Welsh team?
Well, it's quite comical considering they had a bigger gap earlier in the season. They've fallen to shit. Luke Williams is out the door. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to focus on them as of late. I think it's one of those factors where you look at the end of the season, you think, we finished above you, you jack bastards. Same, but I mean, Bristol are they're in the top half. I think they're fighting playoffs at the moment.
Bristol City are 9th at the moment.
Oh, so they're still in and around.
They're 13 points clear of you. They're a bit of a harder catch, but I'm only asking because the drop zone is the bottom 3 teams.
Bottom 3 teams.
So you're 5 points clear of that as things stand, and 4 points behind Swansea. So it's that small little look up. Is that happening?
Yeah. We just got to focus on ourselves. To be honest, that's the main focus is us. I don't care where Swansea or Bristol finish this season. My need is for Cardiff to stay in the Championship, and we just go and rebuild again for next season. And I've never really said a bad word about Omer Reza. I know at the time it was a little bit conflicting because obviously he was the cheap option when it came to Errol Bullett's sacking, and he stepped up and he had a good run of games, and it was just that generic bounce that you get out of a interim manager. And I really thought I mean, did I think? No, this is Vincent Town we're talking about. I thought we would have gone for someone else who was has a bit more of a portfolio than Omariza does, but he's got a good rapport with the squad, you know, and I think that does play a big part in the performances. And so, no, I've always had a soft spot for him. Like, I mean, he clearly cares a lot about the club as well. Like, of course, everything that happened with his father, 48 hours before the South Wales Derby, and he was still there in the dugout, and really got a really meaningful and passionate performance from the boys. Like, I've got a lot of time for Omariza, but I think he's got to take it in his stride now and really prove those critics wrong and prove to us as to he is the right man for the job. And so that's what we've got to worry about. We've got to worry about results. We've got to be looking up. We can't be looking behind us constantly, because it'll only bring the worst out of us and drag us back down there. So it is what it is. But I must say, good week. It was a good week. A little bit more beige, as you said, Joel.
Talking of beige. Are
you ready for it? Nah, got you there, mate. Nah, we ain't doing that shit. No, I'm joking. I love that segment, but we didn't plan for it. Football Manager. So, obviously, me and you, Mayhem, we drew our teams and set ourselves the challenge.
Then you realised that on your database, your team wasn't in the league.
Yeah, because, I mean, if it was FM25, it wouldn't have been a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. But we got Gondor involved as well. I told him about the challenge, and he was like, I want a piece of that. And so that's, a big talking point as to why Gondor has rejoined us, and we just need to hope that you continue to join us with this football manager challenge. So, gist of it was, we drew our continent, we ended up in Europe, go figure. Drew our country, we ended up in France. Ligue 1, we took over 3 teams that were outside the top half. I mean, Gondor, yours was on the brink, you were dead centre. So, Mayhem, you got Le Havre. Gondor, you got Brest, go figure. And I ended up with Clermont. Well, I ended up with Auxerre originally, but they're Ligue 2. So we played 5 games each over the last week. I don't know if we want to start with the worst outcome, Mayhem. I don't know.
That's Aberdeen now. Fuck yous.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I could say it, but then I'm just going to rub salt in the wounds. That's the thing.
Well, yes. Played 5.
FYI to all the listeners or viewers, if you're watching this on YouTube, I will show screenshots of our schedules and our league tables separately.
Yeah. So I've played Lille, I've played Monaco, I've played Brest, I've played Reims.
Yeah, the team, spelled Reims. Yeah.
I played PSG. Sitting on a big duck egg. Bottom of the league, -7 goals, goal difference. This shit's gonna be hard.
Nil point.
Yeah. 2 signings. I forget their names. That's how ineffective they've been in the game. So next week I'll come more prepared. I'll tell you.
Well, you know what I was wondering? Do we stick with 5 games, or do we want to up to 10?
I don't think I could do a spell of 10 at the moment, mate.
No, I was gonna say
brutal. It's a real. I think what you forget about as well is just the shit you have to do at the start of a save takes up so much time. So now it's easy to bang through 5 games, but my Be Plucky laptop isn't as sophisticated as your machine's running it. So it was a brutal start, and I can only hope in next week when I'm sitting here, the next 5 games, I'm on more than 0 points.
It could change drastically. I mean, you had a tough opening, I really thought. My opening was okay. I mean, I had Monaco in mine. And so what I'll do, I'll name Actually, no, Gondor.
Do you want me to go next?
Yeah, you go next, Gondor.
Second worst team next.
Right, give it away now.
So Brest are around about where you'd expect them to be, I suppose. You said I should be You said I should be roughly mid. I'm roughly mid. I've played my 5 games, 8 points, 2 goal difference in the positive. My first 5 games were against RC Lens, Havre, Marseille, Rennes, and Reims.
Yeah, we should call him Will Still's team.
I have 3 victories, 2 draws. Drew to Lens and Rennes. 2 victories, 2 draws, and 1 loss. Drew to Lens, drew to Rennes, lost to Marseille, and then beat Havre and Reims. I also made 2 signings. They were not the best. One came off the bench in his first game. He came off the bench against Marseille, I think it was.
Which signing was this?
This was Melamed.
Nico Melamed.
Nico Melamed.
Yeah.
£6.75 million.
And you didn't expect it to be 6.7
million? No, I signed him for 2 million, and then 6.75 got deducted from.
Yeah, the add-ons did you dirty, man.
I play non-league football on Football Manager. I'm not used to this financial side of things.
I think this is the
I'm going to
first
run it the
time
same way
in a
Rangers
while
runs
you
it.
Played in a top flight division on Football Manager.
This is my first time on FM24. I've played in a top flight.
Yeah,
thing.
No, I think you're right.
I think I played maybe 4 games in a network game against you on stream once, and then
yeah, probably
we trashed that and went non-league for that as well.
It's a lot more fun though, isn't it?
I love non-league. But yeah, Melamed came in the Marseille game and then got injured
How long
immediately.
He out for?
He is due back.
Okay.
Medical centre. He is due back in 5 days. So he's going to miss my next game still, because I've gone all the way up until the day before the next game.
Yeah.
So he's going to miss my next game, but then he'll be back for the game after. And then the other guy I signed, Christopher Rockia, French left back, used to play for Dijon, used to play for Marseille. Signed him, needed backup in the left back position. Worse than every other player at my club so far.
Depth, mate, squad depth.
No, but worse than players that could play that position that weren't registered as left. But yeah, no. And then my next 5 games are Lyon, Nice, Toulouse, Lille, and PSG.
Ooh, PSG as well.
So not a fun run of games.
But an okay start.
An okay start. Like 50% of the points I would expect.
Yeah. All right, now it's time for me to rub it in. I'm sorry, boys. You know what? I really thought, my opening game was at home to Monaco, and I really was expecting the worst going forward. We started off at home to Monaco, lost 3-2, and then we amazingly bounced back away to Will Still's team, Reims. We won 3-1 away from home. We then had FC Metz, who actually started off the campaign pretty well. They were up in the top 4 when I played them. 2-0 home victory. And then I went away to Toulouse. Lost 2-1. That was their first victory of the season. I wasn't too pleased with that, and my left back got sent off, so I was a little bit raging about that. And then thankfully we got back to winning ways. At home to Nantes, we beat them by 3-2. Courtesy of a new signing of mine. I made 2 signings. I made 1 loan signing, and that was Enzo Sternal from Marseille, 16-year-old striker who can also play left wing. I'm currently using him at left wing because my second signing was a striker in the form of Germany striker Fiete Arp. Guys, listening, if you played FM20, if you know about Fiete-Arp. You know about Fiete-Arp. The guy was a fucking monster on that game. Not so much now. 2.5 star, 3.5 star potential. But I don't know. I'm really hoping I can resurrect his career and, kind of make his career a little bit more achievable. I don't know, achieving, maybe. I don't know. The run-in, no, for the next 5 doesn't look fun at all. So, away to Le Havre, next on the books, until I have to embrace PSG at home. Then away to Montpellier, could go one way or the other. Away to Lyon, not expecting much, and then home to Nice. So the mood could completely swing between us three next week. Or they could stay the same. I hope they swing a little bit, I feel a little bit bad for Mayhem. It's not sitting on a point.
Yeah, it's been brutal. It's been tough. I've also had a mutiny at the club. Andre Ayus was causing a mutiny. Wasn't happy with squad depth, even though there was 23 players in the squad. So we all know morale manager is a big thing, and that's been in the bin as well. So I could be sacked after 10 games, and that would be a first ever. So I may break some FM record, but who knows? I'm hoping to at least have 1 point by the time we return.
Just do a Jason Manford, mate. It's my save, dickhead. I haven't even saved it.
So, yeah. I have a question for you then, because
Go on.
I'm guessing this was not something that was considered this early on, and I'm sorry, Mayhem, but what is your plan if one of us gets sacked? Is it to spin the wheel and take on another one of the teams with a new manager and just continue from the same point of the save file? Do you create a new manager and retake over the team that you were managing?
It's a good question.
I was going to say he looks stunned.
I'm hoping it doesn't happen, but
I'm hoping it doesn't happen.
Is that he goes and wins 4 out of the next 5.
I'm hoping it doesn't happen, but it's a question to put forward.
Yeah.
I think at that point, we spin the wheel, or we discuss what makes the most sense. Whether we just do it like the worst 3 teams and then you spin between it, because you don't want to spin and then all of a sudden get a mid-table club. No,
that's true. Or do you take over one of the other bottom 3, like one of the other 2 teams that are in the bottom 3 even?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe one of those. I think it's Setback is there, and
what if because
I think their league on mine.
Taking over the bottom 3, it puts you at a massive disadvantage. What if you was to put in, instead of the actual league table, you go to the season preview and take the bottom 3 or 4 and put those into a will?
Yeah,
because then you might have some advantage if one of them's like sat in 13th, and you have a bit of a.
We can discuss that. I've actually got to emotionally prepare myself for loading that save back up. And
I was about to say, I think that's just going to be a fight in itself.
I think Angus, I'll load it up to obviously snippet a few bits to email across to you, and then I think I'll just leave it for a couple of days, let it sort of rest and go back, wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I've got Marseille next that are currently top in my save, and they've just beaten PSG, and that's a PSG team that has Kvaratskhelia and all sorts of other fucking globetrotters roaming around in it as well. It's looking a bit bleak, but FM, the wonderful world of FM, who knows? I need maybe a little bit of the rub of the green. That's 1-0 to Lille, red card there, red card against PSG. So hopefully we can keep everyone on the pitch and maybe grind out a few results. But I didn't think they would be this shit.
Well, let's just hope when we return next week, things do change in a good way.
Yes.
Yeah. But look, I'm going to have to wrap things up. It is getting to that time. Boys, what an absolute pleasure to have you both on tonight. Thank you for coming. Best of luck come Saturday. I could say that to the both of you. It's a huge game. And then best of luck, of course, on your endeavours in Football Manager. Not your future endeavours, though, yet, Joel. Don't worry.
Cheers.
Ladies and gents, thank you very much for tuning in. If you are new to the Football Podcast, we are available on all audio platforms, including Spotify, Apple, and Audible. If you're watching us over YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new, ring that bell for notifications. And until next time, ladies and gents, I bid you all good night and a star.